This is a lot of potatoes, straight out of our own garden. We're already starting to put food in the cold cellar to eat throughout the winter, and we're starting out with a banger harvest. We planted, we hilled, and now the time is finally here. We've got a long day ahead of us.
Harvest season is all of a sudden upon us. We're harvesting bushels of tomatoes, pounds and pounds of raspberries, peppers, sweet corn, and so much more. But today it's high time to harvest the white potatoes. It seems that no matter how efficient and prepared I am, overwhelm seems to creep up on me every harvest season. Today I'm going to share some of my strategies with you that I use to conquer overwhelm and enjoy harvest season to the fullest. I decided to come out here early this morning and pick raspberries before the kids get up, just to get a head start on my day. We have a really big day today. Hopefully we can dig all of our potatoes. It's gonna be a really big job. I don't know if we'll get it all done, but I at least wanted to give it my best shot. I try to pick raspberries every single day. I just like to stay on top of this patch or it completely overwhelms me. Over the weekend, I often will miss a couple days and then I'll have like one massive picking. So yesterday I picked over 6 pounds. It was 6.5 pounds of raspberries. It took me quite a long time. And I just don't like to have a big job like that looming over me. So I try to pick these every single day. I've also noticed that if I really stay on top of them and don't let any of them get overripe, they don't get wormy. So I haven't seen any worms this year. We actually still have a bunch of raspberry jam left over from last year because I did so much. I'm definitely gonna can some more jam, but I'm doing something else really cool with these and I'm gonna show that to you guys later on, so definitely stay tuned for that.
You kind of have your Nate good morning voice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This root apron is really great for picking raspberries because you can actually set your bowl inside and that way you have both hands free to pick raspberries. These raspberries are really thorny and so I like to pick up a branch and then pick the berries underneath. And what happened is I used to have my bowl on the ground and then I would pick them and have to drop them from up here or bend down every single time. So this is really great, even though it makes me look pregnant.
I don't get a cute apron.
I love harvest season and I'm always so excited for it because after all the hard work, my garden is finally showering me with food. But every year I also struggle with overwhelm over this time. Last year, Cody actually took a few vacation days from his full-time job to help me catch up with my tomato canning, and for us, that's pretty drastic. We very rarely pulled vacation days outside of holidays. I think what bogs me down during harvest season is that the work is never truly finished. I can pick a few pounds of raspberries one day and know that the very next day there's going to be more. Same with the tomatoes, and there's always something ripe that needs to be picked, and because I'm spending all of my time picking and harvesting, I don't have time to stay on top of the weeding that needs to be done, or the lawn work, or the housework, or the cooking. And when I can't finish tasks and feel like I'm on top of the work around here, I start feeling like the world is ending and I'm going to go insane. Okay, this morning we got 3 pounds and 7 ounces. About exactly half of what I got yesterday. One thing that's really helped me to stay off the ledge is breaking down tasks. Last week I realized that my strawberry patch desperately needed attention, and if I kept ignoring it, there would be long-term consequences. So instead of tackling the whole project at once, I just assigned myself 1 row per day. 1 row only took me about 15 to 20 minutes and I was finished within a week. I also use this approach with canning. One thing I like to do is prep the food that I'm planning to can and then do the actual canning process the next day. I also freeze my tomatoes in plastic jugs, and then I do 1 large canning day once I have a huge stockpile in my freezer, rather than doing a whole bunch of small canning days.
All right, guys, let's start digging. These potato tops are hiding in all of these weeds. They are very dead, which is what you want before you dig potatoes. And we kind of put it off as long as possible to dig these things because our root cellar, our cold cellar, is not actually cold yet. Maybe someday we'll invest in something like a cool bot, but at this point we have not yet. There are a ton of weeds in here, and it just kind of gets this way. There's this balance. They go from these nice big bushy potato tops that kind of shade out the weeds, and then they die away and the weeds really start coming. And Michelle wanted to pull some of these, but a couple things, she didn't have a lot of time to get it done, like she's been saying about overwhelm. Just a lot of things going on. And also when you pull some of the bigger weeds, it starts pulling up some of the potatoes, or it pulls dirt away from the top and makes the potatoes bare to the sun, and we don't want that. Now we got to kind of go on a treasure hunt and find each one of the plants to dig around, because you don't want to just dig haphazardly in here. You'll start stabbing potatoes. That's really
Those are so nice. And they're so clean because the soil is dry. That's another thing you really want to dig your potatoes after a bit of a dry spell. If you try to dig potatoes when it's muddy, yeah, no fun at all. We did that last year. It's not fun.
Then you have to wash them, and they don't end up storing as well and stuff. Michelle has been talking about overwhelm, something that we talk about a lot on our channel because it's something that we have dealt with. Running a business or working for somebody, raising a family, keeping up a marriage, homesteading, those things in and of themselves can be overwhelming, but then when you put them all together, it can really be overwhelming. We work really hard to find ways to overcome that. We work hard to do that for ourselves, and then now our goal is to do that with our channel to help other people be able to overcome overwhelm.
Oh my word.
If all of the plants end up being like this, we are gonna have so many potatoes, holy cow. But sometimes you need more than just simple strategies from a YouTube video. You need somebody to talk to. And Michelle and I, we talk together, we work together, but we also feel like, we believe that you need input from an outside source. You need encouragement and advice from somebody that you're not with maybe every day. We've gone through therapy for our marriage in the past. We've gone through it individually at different times, and it has really, really helped. For the past few months, I've been using BetterHelp, and they are the sponsor of today's video. And it's been very helpful for me in getting past some anxiety and overwhelm. Since it's online, you can talk to a licensed therapist via phone call, video chat, messaging, which is really nice, especially if, like us, you live out in the country and you have a long ways to drive to anywhere. You just go to their site and answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles like yours. You'll usually be matched with a therapist within 48 hours, so you can get started quickly. And if something's not working out with the therapist you were matched with, you can always switch. Use our link to go to their site for a special discount. That's betterhelp.com/morethanfarmers, or you can choose our channel at sign up. That's huge.
That one just like got eaten away completely. I wonder what ate that.
That one's eaten too. Huh.
This is two. What do we have in our garden eating our potatoes? I wonder if these things aren't eating some of our potatoes. That is disgusting. That is incredible. Look at that.
And the cool thing about big potatoes like this is they store really well.
They will store
The bigger
forever.
the potato, the better they'll store.
There's a lot of eaten ones in here, which is really discouraging. I'm not sure what's the deal with that. I guess we can afford to share with the bugs. We planted a bunch, so we'll have way enough. One thing that I've been learning about stress is, first of all, stress isn't all bad. For example, when we stress our muscles in a workout, they get stronger. So stress can absolutely deplete us, but in healthy doses, it can actually make us better and more resilient people. A game changer for me has been learning how to process stress better. Bring the stressor that you're facing into perspective. So stressors can get so blown up in our minds sometimes that we see them as a much bigger deal than they actually are. So if a table full of overripe tomatoes is getting me down, I do my best to reframe the situation in my mind. First of all, I'm grateful for these tomatoes. After all, I grew them myself and they're gonna feed my family all winter. Also, nothing truly terrible is going to happen if I have to feed some of them to the chickens. The chickens will love them and I'll get an egg from them in the end and no one's gonna die. Then I break down the task into a manageable chunk, which could just be, okay, I don't have to can all these today. I'm just gonna pick out the worst ones and put them in the freezer, and then I'll face the rest in the morning after I've had some peace and quiet and a cup of tea. I can't tell you how many times I tell myself, no one's gonna die, it's all gonna be fine. Morale is running a little bit low out here. It's hot, we're working hard. There's fighting in the background. I told the kids and Cody that as soon as we're done with the second row, which would mean we're halfways, I will make them a raspberry drink that I have been working on. So sorry, they're still fighting in the background. We're almost there. Another thing I'm learning to do is delegate without feeling guilty. I'm a recovering people pleaser and I don't like to rock the boat or upset people, but I found that my kids can be incredibly helpful if I take the time to teach them how to do a certain task well. Kids are happier overall when they're needed, and it's amazing how having your kids do small pieces of a big task can actually lighten the load so much.
Done with our second double row here. Woo! And so far, these potatoes are looking really, really nice. Time for a break and a yummy drink.
Officially halfway.
I'm gonna weigh all these before we take them inside, so we'll see how many we got. We will be taking these down to the basement then, but first a drink.
I've been picking tons and tons of raspberries, and so I've been experimenting with some raspberry lemonade concentrate. It's so, so good. So far, we've only tried this with plain water, but I got some seltzer water, which is just like carbonated water. At the grocery store, this stuff is only 99 cents for a bottle like this, so it's not an expensive drink. And I'm so excited to see how this tastes. I'm still messing with ratios, like how much concentrate to how much water. I want to give this away as gifts this Christmas, so I want to figure it out, the ratio, so that I can write it on a gift tag. Look at that, it's just like gorgeous. And it cans up beautifully because raspberries are super acidic, and so is lemon juice. All that I do is I mash the raspberries and then juice them. I put them through my food mill and then through a sieve to get all the seeds out. And then I just mix in some organic lemon juice that I get at Kroger, add in the sugar and bring it just to a boil, put it in jars and can it up. I'm canning it up in pint jars. You could also do it in quarts depending how much you wanted. And then you just process it for 10 minutes in a hot water bath. So the canning process is very, very quick. The cool thing is too is that like you can get quite a bit of the raspberry pulp in here. And so it just makes it this hearty, wonderful drink. And I can't wait to taste it sparkling. It is so, so good. You wanna taste it?
It just like really pops. And it's refreshing.
Just like boom. I will leave the recipe that I used for this lemonade concentrate in the description box underneath the video. It is so, so, so good. And it takes a ton of raspberries, which is like a lifesaver for me. Why can't all canning be like this? Like, why do I have to can green beans? Where did all the metal straws go? Somewhere out there with all of our Sharpies and pens.
I can't get out.
So we had a little bit of a refresher. We went inside, drank some raspberry lemonade. The kids are resting now. We had some lunch, and me and Cody are back out here, and we want to try to get these 2 rows done really fast. It's substantially hotter than it was before, but we're fine. We are just gonna like make this happen.
Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
Some of these have like this weird fungusy stuff on them. I don't know what it is. It's only on the red Pontiac potatoes. Most of them are fine. I'm not worried about it, honestly. I'll just set these aside. We'll use them first. Last year they had some of that on them too, and it didn't affect the shelf life really. The red Pontiac potatoes always seem to go bad first anyways. They don't store nearly as long as the Yukon Gold and the Kennebec, so.
All right, I think we got our last potato plant here.
A little bit anticlimactic for the last one. Now we get to take the rest of them up to the house and see how many pounds we got. We got a lot of potatoes.
A lot of potatoes. It's like 5 o'clock in the evening. This took longer than we wanted it to, but we're just happy that it's all done. By the way, my carrots are coming up here. I took the boards off this morning because they're just these tiny little shoots are starting to come up. It's always such a relief once like our staple crops are in, because then I know that like the foundation of what we eat during the winter time is like secured, it's good. And this was a really, really good potato harvest. I'm so excited about it.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey, darling, we could get out of town.
So far, they've pretty much all been 30 pounds, so we're gonna guess about 400 pounds. All right, so we got 3, 6, 12 times 30 would be 360. Let me see your numbers here. There's an extra 5 pounds. 395 pounds. That's almost 400 pounds. About exactly what we had last year, and that was definitely enough to get us through the winter. So now we need to take these down to the basement. We're actually gonna take them all out of the crates, lay them out to cure, and then they'll get put back into the crates to store for the winter. You don't wanna store them like this right away. They need time to cure. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So you may have noticed, looks a little different in here. We finally bit the bullet and got some shelves. Ended up that Home Depot was having a sale on these shelves, a pretty good sale. Plus it was the like no sales tax time, whatever. We got a really good deal to get these shelves, and they are so easy to put together. Literally no tools required. Just get the stuff out of the box, stick it together, put the shelves at whatever height you want. I've got 2 4-foot sections here, 2 4-foot sections back there, another 3-foot section here, and then we've got also those stackable bins here. And I know somebody will probably ask where we got those. Those stackable wire bins there we got at an auction like 10 years ago. No idea where they come from. I've been looking for a place to be able to get them because a lot of people have asked about them. I cannot find them anywhere. I actually saw them in a movie once in a hospital. So I don't know, maybe some kind of hospital supply or something. I've tried to look it up, can't find anything. While I bring the rest of the potatoes down here, Michelle is gonna start laying these potatoes out on the shelves.
The curing process for potatoes is super easy. All that you want to do is find a place in your house. We are just doing it here in the root cellar because we have space to lay these all out. You just want to lay your potatoes out in a single layer so that they can like fully dry out. You want the temperature in the room that you're going to be doing it in to be somewhere from 60 to 75 degrees, nice and dry. You don't want it outside. You don't want your potatoes exposed to wind or sunlight. I'm guessing you could get away with it in a shed, but you want it to be nice and dark. The purpose of curing is just to dry out your potatoes really well. Also, like if I was to wash these with like a scrubber, the skin would come right off, but after you're done curing them, the skin gets a lot thicker and it makes so that the potato has a much longer shelf life. It's just so satisfying when a crop turns out so well. Another thing that I'm really careful about when I am laying these out is if I see a fork prick, like right here, I like to set those potatoes aside and we'll use those first. They'll still store for like a month or two, but I just like to use those first because if you have a potato that starts rotting inside one of your bins, the juice gets on the other potatoes and the rest of the potatoes start rotting. So it's a good root cellar practice to go through your bins of potatoes every now and then just to make sure there's no rotting. And it just makes it so much easier if you kind of take care of that problem before it happens. We definitely had an issue with something biting our potatoes. These should store just fine, like it's all healed over. I feel like that's gonna store fine, so I'm just putting these bit ones like this. If they're really bad, I'll set them aside, we'll use those first. But I'm honestly not too worried about the bites. Curing just really helps to heal all that stuff over. Now a deep fork mark like that, I'm not gonna trust that to heal very well. Done. Done. Woo.
This is a lot of potatoes right here, but this is really only the beginning. There's a whole lot more stuff we're gonna be putting in here, and if you wanna get a sneak peek at what all we store and how we store it, you can watch our cellar tour from last year right here.
Wow, look at that. They're so pretty.
Are they yummy?
No. You can eat a dried bean.
I smell like somebody dunked me in a vat of sweat and then rolled me in dirt and hung me out to dry.